Hey guys, it's your personal Affliction Warlock SJ here, and I wanted to talk about something that's been on my mind lately, and that is why is everyone avoiding Cathedral keys, especially high ones? It seems to be if you get a Cathedral key, it's a dead key, and I wanted to show that it's even without perfect play, it's totally doable within timer, and even with time to spare. So this is going to be a rundown of our 21 Cathedral key, which I believe is the highest key currently done inside of timer. And as you can see, we just start, we pull 2 packs, and we hero instantly at the start. We use all our AoE cooldowns from our Guardian Druid and Boomkin, and they just go absolutely ham on this fight. And you can see me standing in some Fell Strikes. That's not a good thing. If you get by 2 of those on higher keys, you're basically dead. So you want to watch out for the Fell Guards that cast this thing. And then the next thing we do is we actually pull the mini boss. We don't go right. We range pull the mini boss through the pack on the left because they're not linked, and that way we don't have to deal with several mobs while doing this mini boss. So we can just single target, focus him down, and then we can do other stuff after. So you want to position him so that you don't cover the entire room with Shadow Wave, or at least you got somewhere to dodge to. So we stand fairly close, so it's easy to move around. If you stand too far out, and you don't have a movement increase or a blink, then you're actually just gonna flat out die because you're not gonna be able to move away from the Shadow Wave cone. We also figured out on this run that it can target the tank, which we actually didn't know before, but there you can see it targeting the tank, and we kill it. Then the next pack is going to be, I believe, 3 Fell Hunters and one of the female mobs. The Fellbringers. Or we might actually double pull here. Yeah, we do. So this is a pretty big pull, and there you can see the haste bubble coming up. This is actually a very big time save for your DPS to be standing inside of this haste bubble, even though it does taking damage. Uh, it gives you a massive haste increase, kind of like the circle in Arcway. And here our tank is being annoying and pulling them out of range, but it doesn't really matter because our Boomkin is just going absolutely ham on this fight, on these flashbacks. Killing them off, and as you can see, if you got good enough AoE DPS, then stuff even on 21 fortified just it goes down pretty fast. The main thing is you need to avoid the Fell Strikes. The Fell Strikes and the devastating swipes that these Dreadwings do is the biggest thing. In addition to interrupting basically every spell you see because it hurts. You can see the double Fell Strike cast. It got stunned by the Demon Hunter. Then you can see it going out again. If you get hit by those two green lines, you're dead. You can't survive that on higher keys. Unless you got like a super big personal cooldown. So we're just trying to sidestep it, DPSing as much as possible, staying inside the bubble, me and the Boomkin at least. Avoiding Sanguine. And right now, our Guardian Druid is saying that he has cooldowns. Our Demon Hunter has cooldowns back up, so we're going to do a massive pull here, which almost goes badly, but we do it. And I think I accidentally ninja pull here because I positioned myself badly towards the edge. Yeah, there you can see I got an extra mob there. You don't want that to happen. You don't want to deal with extra mobs here because you get enough mobs just by killing it normally. So I'm trying to stand inside the bubble here, but I get charged one too many times. I get super scared. I pop my defensive and I run out and wait for everything to move away from the bubble before I move in again. Our Druid just flat out dies here from just damage, but we get him up fast enough and we just continue kiting. Guardian Druids are very, very good for this because of their really high AoE DPS and kiting potential. Another Fell Strike, sidestepping. And that's the hardest part. This, until these stairs, is the hardest part before the first boss. So now we're done with that. we get to the pack here and at the stairs, and we pull them down. We do this so to have more room to dodge and to basically get more of an overview, because the camera angle up in that stairway is just awful. You can't dodge anything. So we got dodging the devastating swipe and moving up into the bubble. Unfortunately, our Druid tank lines us, so we have to move to the side to be able to do anything. But it's almost dead anyway. And that brings us to upstairs. So it's very important that when you run up these stairs that you take the longest route possible, so that you lose a lot of time, as you can see me doing, not clipping anything. This is, we route the tree to the right so that we can move safely over. So we skip everything there. You can see just jumping over the flower bed or whatever it is, and skipping that. So here we gotta be really careful with basically everything. All the stuff that's on the floor hurts. You want to interrupt everything, and if something has fixate and it's targeting you, then you don't want to be near that. Very, very bad. Now I believe I banished here just for safety. My tank asked me to banish, so I just did it. And here I'm gonna die, and if you can see what I die to, then I'd be really happy to just let me know in the fucking comments, because this is complete bullshit. Look at this. What is that? Was I inside one of those circles? Was I not? Anyway. We interrupt the lumbering crash as much as possible with stuns and in-cap from Druid. The lumbering crash is something you don't want to go off unless you absolutely are just out of interrupts or knockbacks or stuns or saps or whatever. I'm gonna be rest here in a bit, and if you're wondering what the text says because you're not Norwegian, because you are so shit. So that's that. Eating up. And these next two trash packs is not very, very difficult. You just gotta pay attention to the left pack, because that they have lashers which fixate, and if they reach you, they do a lot of damage. So it's just about running out of range if you get dragged in. I think I get dragged in here in a bit, so you can see it. Yeah, you can see it be casting on. I think I get dragged here. Let's see if I can get a good example of it. No, actually I can't. But the thing is, you just move out of range. If you have a green thing between you and the mob, there you go. You just move out of range and it breaks. And that's something you need to watch out for if doing hierarchies. Is that actually hurts a lot, so you need to be careful. And here we come to the first boss, and we do this differently than I've done with most groups. We position the boss close to the flower bed in the middle, and we stand behind him as ranged. The reason for doing this is sorry. The reason for doing this is you can cleave the boss while killing the lashers that are fixating everyone else, and you can just keep slows on them as they run through the boss. I've not done this on really, really high tyrannical keys, so I do not know if it's a viable strat for that, but it worked extremely well for us, as you can see. Just a couple of Seed of Corruption just to tag them, and then you get 5 stacks of Wrath of Consumption, and you're absolutely going ham on the boss if you have any idea what Affliction Warlock is. We don't really care too much about Succulent Lasher. We figured out we just nuke the boss. We have enough interrupts to interrupt when it's needed, and our Druid tank just survives anyway. So we keep doing this for 2 or 3 times. We don't have Bloodlust for this fight, because we Bloodlusted earlier. We actually don't have Bloodlust for any boss but the last boss. So we don't really care about... We want to get it on cooldown when it's on cooldown for a major objective, so to say. Again, just slowing the lashers that's fixating, cleaving them down as they go through the boss, moving a bit back if it's needed, and the boss should be dead here any minute. Affliction Warlocks is really strong for this boss fight. You get so many Rats of Consumption stacks that you just absolutely rape the boss. Okay, now we're done. Now we're doing another skip right after this boss, after this mobs despawn. The patrol timing is kind of off, but we're just waiting. We don't want to pull this. We have enough trash. So we're just waiting for these two patrols, and then we're moving straight down the center. Make sure that you dismiss any pets here. I've been having some issues with that lately, with the pets just walking around, because we're jumping over this ledge right here, and I think your pet paths around that. So that's not a good thing. Running up the stairs. Again, I'm taking a bit shorter route here because I'm trying to save some time, but I'm not very careful about it. So I think I lost a second there. You know, you got to do the speed run tactic. Our Druid tank dies here for some reason, which no one really knows why. He just got absolutely destroyed. And we have to do this without a tank, but it's fine. We just keep interrupts up, and they don't hurt. The melee attacks don't hurt that much. So our Druid tank is back. And now our Demon Hunter says he has cooldowns again. So basically communicating cooldowns here is very key. We do a really big pull. These two, and we try to stay close for this pack because we want to be able to have just random AoE damage kill the books that come up. So you don't want range to be far away. You want range to be basically on top of melee, so that you can have the books just cleave down like what happened. Then we go left, kill this pack. This is a pack that's very important to have really good AoE interrupts, because if all these foul bolts go out at once, like you can see there on our Druid tank, it hurts a lot. It's so bad. So we try to keep interrupts up. He get hit quite a few times again, but we manage. And this is actually where we put Bloodlust for the second time. We pop it on this mini boss, and this mini boss is very scary. Our Demon Hunter fails to the first. I think he dashes into one of the green circles and just get one shot. But you can, after he casts the Blinding Glare, he's gonna cast Focus Destruction, and this is a very important part of this mini boss. On higher keys, this is going to kill you, unless you're a Warlock or a tank. Unless you outrange it. If you stand further than 50 yards, I believe 45 or 50 yards away, it will not reach you. So you can move out of range and then move in when the cast is done. As a Warlock, you can, if you time your drain properly, you can face tank most of it. You can see here, once I start dipping, once I go below 100% HP, I just keep draining with UAs on the target until it's finished casting, so I don't lose DPS uptime. But you gotta be careful. You can see the Demon Hunter rest, came back, ran in, and just instantly died to it again. So that's something you need to be super careful about. And that brings us to the second boss, which it's silly. It's just it's not a good fight right now. It needs to be fixed or something, because you can absolutely cheese the charge. You don't have to go behind the bookshelves ever, which you will see in a few seconds here. He'll do the AoE thing first. Of course, don't stand in that. That's pretty obvious. It's the bad. Our Boomkin didn't care though, because he is a Boomkin. And then I get, look at this. I have some shields. I have my defensive up. I'm just taking the charge to the face. I should be coming now. Yeah, there we go. Popping my defensives. Just taking the charge to the face so we don't have to deal with the books. Don't even lose HP. I don't think both of... I didn't know how many defensives was needed, but clearly both of my defensives would not need it. If you have bear form, if you have a damage reduction, you can take this to the face even on 21 fortified keys. So it seems to not scale properly at the moment. So this is something you can do to make this fight just complete face roll. You don't have to deal with any of the books, and you just stand in the middle DPSing him down. It's basically patchwork right now. It takes a while though because he has a lot of HP even on fortified. This is a very high HP boss, and I'm not doing great damage right now, but I'm getting some Whispers proc towards the end, so I'll be fine. So this is just dead time, DPSing the boss. Keep using just use bear form or any defensive you have for the charge. You can see here our Druid is taking it in the ass like a man. And finish off the boss. More Whispers procs. Feels godly. Feels good, man. Okay, and then we're done. And for the next pack, you just want to make sure that it's very similar to the big AoE pack before this boss. You don't want to be standing far away. You want to be standing in melee. You don't want to stun until all the ads that's going to run away has ran away. Because that just wastes damage. So you want to stay close. He stunned a little bit too early, but it was fine. Move the ads over to the book so they can be cleaved down. I focus one of them down and basically keep interrupt rotations up here. Stuns, and if you have Sanguine, then of course move them out of Sanguine. This next part is actually a bit tricky. We had some issues here when running it the first time around, just because of the debuffs you get from the mini boss. But first we're gonna kill these two spiders and pull it up and AoE them down with the first pack here. You gotta be really careful for the orb caster, is that what it's called? The orb caster, when she casts Fellblaze orbs. Just don't be in front of it. It's very unnecessary damage to take, and it's quite painful. It's also painful for everyone else to watch while you fail, so don't do that. Here we have to use the displacement on, she's standing in Sanguine, so we get a Typhoon to move her out, and then we get to the mini-boss. This mini-boss on Fortified is... You need to be able to stun and kite and Typhoon and Vortex, the small ads, in between your dispel windows. Because we had problems with our tank just flat out dying to having 5 stacks of the poison debuffs that these spiders supply. But it can be dispelled. So if you have enough druids, like we have 3 druids right now, I believe 2 of them can the Boomkin and the resto can dispel. So we're basically just cleaving, making sure that we don't have too many spiders up at the same time. Right now I'm going from, I did a little bit of single target, but right now I'm just focusing AoE until we only have 3 up, and then I'm going back to single target DPS after, I believe. Keep dodging she ports away and does a frontal cone AoE. She doesn't actually decide the target instantly when she ports, or the direction, I mean. She doesn't decide the direction instantly when she ports, so you have to wait a bit to dodge when she ports away. She should port any minute now. One last time, I believe. Yeah, there we go. So now you can dodge. When you see the cast, you sidestep it. If you sidestep too early, then she's just going to face you and it might catch you off guard, so you have to move back again. But yeah, keep dispels up. If you don't have dispels, then you need a really, really good stun and kiting pattern here to just not have the tank flat out die. And up until now, as you can see, we haven't had very many issues. So we've been pulling quite heavy. We're way ahead of time. We're not gonna two chest this. This is a one chest, but it's definitely two chestable for a good group. If you decide to go super ham, which we didn't because we wanted to save it here and we waited for some timing intervals on this boss and some cooldown. We waited for some cooldowns on the last boss, so we lose about two minutes, maybe a little bit more than 2 minutes, just on these last two bosses, just from timings. So here we pull the boss, we DPS it down a bit, we make sure that it does not hit 90% before the first chaotic energy. This is very important because either you have to get him to 90% and kill the portal guardians before you hit the first chaotic energy, or you really want to wait before the first chaotic energy and then push him to 90 so you can get the portals. So here you can see I'm just keeping some dots up, and when he casts this, we're getting ready to push. There we go. Dots up on both of them. I'm banishing one for Cephus, and we have some issues with the cast getting off, so we really want to be able to DPS hard on these, pumping a lot of damage into the Portal Guardians. Getting a little bit of help from everyone else, and now it's just basically interrupt all the small ones. It's very, very important, and if you see a cast go off, you really want to be pre-moving, because it hurts a lot if you get hit by that, especially if you're trying to do this on a high tyrannical key. Then you really don't want any cast to go off. Let the banish go out, banish it again just for Cephus proc, and we kill it off. And now it's a waiting game again. We want to wait for, we don't want to push it until we have perfect timing with chaotic energy. So we're gonna get one more chaotic energy here, and then we're gonna wait, and we're gonna get another one before we do anything. So there's gonna be a lot of dead time here, but it's really worth it just to be able to do this boss safely. If you're doing this tyrannical, then you probably you can probably time it so that you have a lot of DPS uptime even while doing this, because we're waiting. We have average DPS right now, and we're just waiting. We have to wait for this chaotic energy timing to line up, so we're just pooling astral power, pooling procs, pooling soul shards, basically getting ready to nuke these portals as soon as possible. We're not going to be using Lust though. This is something you might want to consider, but we needed Lust to be able to two-face the last boss. So here we go, getting dots up, and banishing one of the sides, and now it's just go ham. I got a bad Whispers proc there at the end that I didn't cancel because I thought it would overlap into this window, but it didn't, so that was kind of bad play by me. Get both the Portal Guardians down, kill off the Mistresses, and I'm gonna keep this last Mistress just banished for the rest of the fight. Go into the middle for chaotic energies, and this fight is basically over now, at least on Fortified. There's nothing that hurts. Just keep the tank alive. When the boss enrages, keep the mob CC'd, or kill it off if you don't want to CC it anymore. Shouldn't be too much of an issue. Go into the middle for chaotic energies, and I think we have 55% on the shield right now. So it's very, 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 very doable. Killing the boss, into the shield, very basic. So I can start explaining a little bit about the last fight now. You can see the windows around the room. On the last boss fight, if you're familiar with it, that's where the bats is going to be coming from. They come in one of those windows and they go diagonally across the room. So basically, the markers that are down now is both the portal spawns for this boss, but it's also the no-go zone for the first intermission and phase 2 when we get there for the last boss. So we're just gonna pull the trash here. Our Boomkin's gonna die because he is a baddie. No, he's not. He's really good, but there you can see the Dreadwings coming in the windows. So you don't want to be standing at the windows. You want to be standing at these fireplaces. You can see me getting hit there really badly. Sidestepping now. I learned from my mistakes. You don't want to be standing near... You either want to be standing near the middle to be able to dodge, or not near the windows. You don't want to be standing near the edge, near the windows. That's a really bad spot to be at. So we're just finishing off these mobs. This is not very difficult at all. Just don't be in front for the shadow swipe. And the boss is gonna spawn. We wait a bit for cooldowns here, but we make sure that our healer is center. We have a melee DPS, so he's obviously at the boss, and then our Boomkin is right, and I'm left. So we keep spread out so we can move into center with demonic upheaval. And this is something you need to be really, really good at when you do this tactic, is that when you move into the center, you need to be quite spread. You need to be very, very careful. So here we're gonna pull the boss, and the first thing is demonic upheaval is gonna cast. We're popping some cooldowns here, but we're making sure that we have them for lust, because we're gonna lust after we come out of the shadow phase. So demonic upheaval, when it drops, I'm gonna refresh dots and move into center. And I make sure that I keep myself alive, because the healer has a lot to do here. So I used my shield for that one, and I make sure that I'm draining through this Dark Solitude. Very important, especially if you have self-sustain, that you keep yourself alive during this phase, because the healer has enough to deal with. We're gonna get one more demonic upheaval, and then it's gonna be phase. And this demonic upheaval is very, very scary. This is probably the scariest point in the fight, because it hits right as the phase ends, so you don't have anything to self-sustain from, and it's just really, really bad. So here we do a tactic where we move close to the door. Learned this from Meow-chan. And we basically want to kill everything that's on the door side has priority. So we kill door side, and then we move to the other side if needed, so that the Druid basically has one side to deal with for the most part, and the occasional bolt from this side. I don't even care about damaging them. I probably should have done a little bit more, but I was just saving for positioning. And as you can see here, I'm at the door. I don't want to be at the window. I really do not want to be at the window at all. So you can see Skull. I don't want to be at Skull. I want to be at Blue. Blue is a good place for me. Here the Druid is coming and stacking on me, so I have to move for the Dark Solitude. You can see here I had to sidestep this, or it would have hit both, and that would be really, really bad. But at this point, it's basically don't get hit by bats, and as you can see, even when they fly in from Skull, if I'm not on Skull, I don't get hit. It doesn't hit me there. Popping my defensive for this demonic upheaval. If you're doing this tyrannical, I believe you need some personal cooldowns for the upheavals, and that's basically the whole fight. That's the dungeon. I would really like, if you enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up, and if you have anything to add to the strategy, then just leave it in the comments below. Thanks.